let's go. Let's go. So do you want to actually show each other who you are like a bit? Let's just do a quick turnaround, not too long. Don't do your life story, please, because you're going to have the chance to really meet each other face to face. But just really quickly, if you want to each tell us who you are, what's your first name is, you know, and let's pick something like what instrument do you play, or why are you excited to be a part of this in 2 lines. Let's start from there. Okay, go. Zoe.
I'm Zoe. I play cello and I also play saxophone. And I'm really excited to be a part of this because, like, when I've been explaining to my friends and my family what I've been doing, everybody is so confused. And the more I try and explain, the more confused they get. And it's just like the same conversation every time. And I'm so excited to find out what the hell we're actually going to do here.
Exactly. That's perfect. That is exactly the good start. You know, confusion is good, definitely. Hopefully we will find some sense of gravity by the end of this journey, but who knows, or we might not. So Christopher, what about you? Christopher has got lots of guitar, everyone. But
hi guys, I am a recovering addict. I'm a guitarist, I'm a producer. I'm excited to be here because I haven't played I haven't gone across the landscape of UK, and I want to do so with people who I can get to know and share my gift and receive others in kind.
amazing. Thank you so much, Christopher. I have Dr. Aditi Shaganathan, everyone who you have met, all of you in your interview as well. But Aditi, do you want to just tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, so one thing about me, I struggle to keep things brief. So yeah, I'm super excited about, you know, meeting you all and meeting you in real life tomorrow. And yeah, like experimenting on this wild and amazing project with you through art, music, collaboration, and using the moon as a site of radical imagination, you know, and exploring the imagination collectively together. Stuff like this kind of makes my heart sing. So hopefully by the end of this project, we'll create a heart singing chorus together. But yeah, I'm a doctor. I'm interested in like social activism, social justice, music as a tool to kind of change the world, to transform the world, to kind of decolonize and remove all of the fuckery in any way possible, by any means possible. Yeah, so I'm excited, and it's an honor, you know, to be doing this project with Nelly and all of you all. This is a new turn of phrase. But yeah, so I'm excited and energized, and I really look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
And Aditi, Dr. Aditi Shaganathan will be the head of program. So you're gonna hear a lot from Aditi, and you're gonna meet and see Aditi quite a bit. Then we have Maya here. Maya, hello.
Hi, I'm Maya Ole, either one, I don't mind. What do? I sing a bit of percussion, very new in my music journey, but very excited to learn from everybody. And yeah, I honestly, what everyone is saying, like, want to travel with you all, want to see England, want to learn how to use music to bring down the system, you know, what we're all here for.
And we have Mirror Fatality, who come as a duo, everyone. Who do we have in Mirror Fatality? Hello.
I'm Summer. I use any pronouns but prefer they and my name. Yeah, and I play like bass, a little bit of keys, do a lot of like mostly like noisy kind of like computer stuff. So a lot of like glitch sounds, you know, like techno noise punk. Yeah, and I feel like this opportunity is really, really beautiful. Especially like not only to be like traveling in a group of like such beautiful souls, but also like being in a space where like we're in like constant learning as well, like not only like learning from each other, but like learning so much like material. It feels like really dreamy and like such a really beautiful way to really immerse in the UK.
Ako po si Mango. My name is Mango. I play guitar, drums, piano. I do a lot of analog electronic software, so like Chaos pads and synths. I have a lot of like knowledge with like sound recording and on recording and sound tech up and visuals, all the things. So I'm just happy to be like a jack of all trades. I think the thing I'm most excited about is going to different soils and different landscapes with you all, learning about how we can nourish those areas, nourish each other, inspire each other, and continue to learn how to keep each other going and doing the work that we're doing, especially on this tour, especially in the bubble and portal that is Tour de Moon. I want to be doing this until the day I die, so I'm excited for all the lessons that like, happen here so I can keep going.
Okay. Amazing. Well, we can't wait to meet you all face to face tomorrow as well. Like really, really exciting to see you all. Eshan, hello.
Hiya, can you hear me?
Yes, loud
yeah,
and
okay,
clear.
cool. Yeah, so I'm Isha. I play an instrument called the santoor, which I'm really excited to play with you guys. I'm also a media composer, so I've just been working on a few other projects to do with animation. And yeah, I'm really excited to meet you guys, and I'm excited to see what happens with this. Again, it's hard to explain what we're doing. So, you know, I'm really looking forward for the journey.
We're gonna explain it all. It's all gonna make sense today, hopefully. And then again, as you go along. Veronique, I mean, to be fair though, we do have students at the University of the Underground that are still finding their soul, you know, 10 years in. So it does take, you know, it does take time. So just be patient. Veronique, hello.
Hi everyone. My name is Veronique, but you can refer to me as V. I am a saxophone player and like a cultural worker, more generally speaking. And yeah, I'm just excited to meet you all. I'm excited about the unknown. I'm excited about making music, experimenting. Like I'm basically echoing what you've all said, but yeah, I'm really excited about the journey. So yeah, nice to meet you.
Really exciting to have you on board, Veronique. And we have King Ali here. Hello, Ali. Ali, we cannot see you though. Are you at the gym? Where are you? Ali.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just preparing some food. I'm trying to cook for later. I'm currently fasting. It's Ramadan.
So how are you, Ali? So do you want to just say a few words about you?
Hello everyone. My name's Ali. I do a lot of sports, community work and all of that. One second, let me just pause that. I'm watching the boxing as well. But yeah, I just do sports, a lot of community work, and I just bring a lot of vibes. So whatever happens, it's all about the vibes.
The good energy, definitely.
The good energy and the good vibes. That's what we're all about.
Exactly.
If you're gonna bring bad vibes, leave it at home, please. Thank you.
There you go. There you go. Beautiful, Ali. And who else? Franz. Hello, Franz. Franz. I think I will put this in the because you are in the. So Franz is telling us that I'm Franz, I'm a composer, percussionist, and I'm very excited to find out what is going to happen and looking forward to whatever that is. And Franz will meet you all tomorrow as well. There you go. Did I do a good job, Franz? Is that okay? And then finally meet Victoria Adams as well. Victoria, hello. Usually behind the scene, but you need to meet Victoria.
Hi.
Behind the hello at University of the Underground.org email. Here is the one and only.
The myth, the legend, Victoria.
So please remember this beautiful face behind the email when you send us complaints.
Yeah, I receive. No, it's really nice to meet you all. If you have any questions or bits or bobs that need to be sorted, come to me. I'm here to help and support you on this really fun and wild journey you're going to embark on.
There you go. So thank you so much, Victoria, for that and for all the hard work in putting together this brief. As you probably have noticed, all of you, and Fraz did notice it, we had a few discrepancy in terms of like the calendar, the times that we gave you and so forth. Well, you know, good, it just happened there because it's not going to happen on tour. Let me tell you that when we leave at a given time, unfortunately. So, you know, it had to happen at least at the start. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you the actual brief and we're going to go through this. So the main thing I need to tell you is like, obviously we have the emails and we're going to dive into it, but we have the emails, but really WhatsApp is a really good place for us to kind of like have quick conversation. If you're not sure about what time, where we're meeting, it's a really useful tool. You're all on there. Get to know each other as well. Like you can make your secret WhatsApp channel that often happen as well. I know there is a secret WhatsApp channel always where we are not involved. That's fine. Go for it. But the main thing is like, you know, this is the latest brief that we've shared with you. And then I just want to really go into it so you know where the information are. Obviously, Aditi is going to dive in much further on Friday. But, you know, it's kind of like just to get you to understand what's going on into this 14th page. So first of all, you have a few kind of like, you know, comment about Zoom in general. The Zoom presentation are always recorded and they are always shared online, most of them. So if you don't want your face to be, I mean, not this one, but like say if you don't want your face to be visible into one of the lecture, then, you know, just don't put your face on. But in general, it's nicer for the lecturer to see your faces. Otherwise they feel like if they're talking to a wall. So we do ask in general that, you know, it's better that you kind of like show you are and you participate, even though it might be virtual. Some of the classes are virtual, some of the classes are physical, right? You also have most of your classes are actually physical in your case, lucky you, because as we know, most people were stuck at home for 2 years. So it's kind of quite nice to have this kind of like face-to-face situation. So it's important that we say to you as well that we're going to discuss things that might be uncomfortable sometime you're not gonna find that, you know, you agree with each other. All of this is part of the deal, right? The University of the Underground and Tour de Moon, the festival itself, is pluralistic. What does plurality mean? It means that I might not agree with Ali, I might not agree with Fraz, I might not agree with Aditi, but it doesn't matter. You know, as Ali said, it's all about the good energy. We're all listening to each other. We are all there in the same boat. And at the end of the day, you're going to be stuck in a truck together for 20 days. So, you know, you might as well just stick with each other. Yeah, that's kind of like, so please do read through this code of conduct. Obviously, we recognize and value diversity. We respect both the personal space and the privacy of all individuals. So it's fine to also put boundaries and say, I don't like to do this, I like to do that, but also be open-minded. I know, Ali, you don't want to perform, but is there such things as not performing? Who knows? You might become like the best opera singer by the end of this journey, you know? So do all have an open mind in terms of how you do things. Seek the best in all of the people, believe that people can be vulnerable and so forth. So all of these, I leave that with you. You can read it in your own time, but it's really important that you read it and you know that this is part of the process, that we take an open mind with everything. Don't just expect us to have all the answers as well. Sometimes you might go to Aditi and she might say to you, I don't know. And I don't know is as good as yes or no, you know. Anyway, what is the project brief? So there is two things, and I guess this is where maybe the confusion and the difficulty is going to be for you, is that you are both students, and to be fair, we are all students of life in general, you know. You're both students and taking part in a program which is investigating whistleblowing, which is revealing secret information in public institutions, and it's a political action that is actually forbidden, right? In general, in most, you know, governments, in most nation states, but also whistleblowing, as in whistleblowing, the actual act of whistleblowing, you know, like seeking some form of truth through music and instruments. So this is kind of like the like bringing together these two worlds of politics and kind of political activism together with the world of music. That is the learning, like that is going to be some of the, you know, all of the lecturers are going to speak about this and are going to try and answer some elements of this question, such as, is whistleblowing, what whistleblowing look like in the world of cancel culture? What is the history of whistleblowing to history? Who are the famous whistleblowers? How does that work? What are, in relation to whistleblowing, subversive form of music culture? How all of these things kind of combine each other. So, you know, it's like university, right? Like, it's like you're going to learn about these topics, you're going to learn from some expertise, and you're going to bring this back into your own practice. You're going to mix it up with the way that you do things, and you're going to pick an institution you want to collaborate with, and you're going to make that a project, an educative project, right? That is one thing. Then the other part of the situation, and that's being a student of the University of the Underground, where, you know, I'm going to get into it, but you can see, like, you're not new, like, as in, we've had, the University of the Underground is a charity that has been going on since 2017. So you have an history behind you. In a way, you have a lot of students that have been going into these programs, similar programs than the one that you're on board. And I encourage you to actually look into the previous work. So if you click here, when you go on page 4, you click here on that link, this is going to take you into the website. And I encourage you to really dive deep into the work of the previous students. You are going to be a part of an alumni group that is all over the world, between Taiwan to Singapore, to South Africa, to India, to the US, to Antarctica. We have students all over the world. And you're going to be a part of this alumni group by being a student of the University of the Underground. So when you're not sure of what you're doing, you can, I will introduce you as well with all of them. So you're going to be part of this grand community in a way. But at the same time, you're also a part of the Tour de Moon, the festival, and you're the face of the festival. When you are on tour, you're not anymore just learning, you're also providing the learning. Members of the public are going to come to you just purely to listen to good music, just purely to hear about the giant squid that is on tour with you, just purely to hear about what the festival is about and what is the artwork that is available and visible. So that is another side of the story, right? And you're going to be running workshops, you're going to be getting kids running around, giving them, you know, tools, like things that are kind of like, what can you do when you're arriving in a square where you have this kind of giant kind of convoy arriving? So there is two sides to the story, right? And I think it's really important that you understand this, because I think sometimes you might get confused, but it's important that you know that when you're public facing, then it's a different story than when we are, in the context of learning. And I make a big difference in that because, someone that is just coming to enjoy a festival is just coming to enjoy a festival. They don't really want to have a lecture on whistleblowing or political action or, and you need to be aware of their needs as well as yours, right? But when you are on the tour during the time where you're working as part of the tour, then it's just flipping around a bit and be a bit more aware of the needs of the people in front of you, right? So it's just, but right now I'm just focusing on that brief. So right now, the learning brief. So you're going to learn about whistleblowing, and then of course, here, if you can read through it, but, we gave you a definition of what whistleblowing is about. And then we have this question about institution. And tomorrow I'm giving you a lecture about the design of experience and identifying what is an institution. So we're going to dive in a bit further into institutions and political theory. We're going to speak about all of that and previous work from the students at the University of the Underground. But this is important that, thinking, collaborating, composing, consolidating, the various themes that you're going to explore. Do you want to say a few words about the theme Aditi? And of course, again, we're going to unpack all of this, but if you want to just say a few words about the various themes that we're going to explore. Aditi?
Yeah, so the themes are kind of aligned with the ethos and the ethic of University of the Underground. So there's a kind of plurality to what we'll be exploring and an interdisciplinary focus, right? And I guess because I'm very interested in history and also in the future, and this beautiful concept coined by Saidiya Hartman called temporal entanglement, which is the ways in which the past, the present and the future are all inextricably intertwined. Oh, I think there's a little bit of feedback.
Maybe if everyone can mute.
Yep, that's a lot better. Yeah, so as I was saying, there's a beautiful term coined by the incredible historian and artist Saidiya Hartman called temporal entanglement, which is the way in which the past, the present, and the future are all inextricably intertwined. And in many ways, this is going to be the lens through which we see whistleblowing, right? We're going to look at the ways in which disenfranchised, marginalized, oppressed communities in the past used music to speak truth, use music to share truth outside of the gaze of the colonizer, right? So we're going to have someone, the incredible Miranda Sheffield, talk about the different ways in which enslaved communities across the Caribbean use music, use dance, use different modalities, different creative modalities of communication to essentially escape the plantation economy, to refuse the plantation economy. And these are communities known as marooned communities. And so I guess ultimately there's kind of like two different aspects to whistleblowing that we're really going to dive into: the kind of political, the historical element of whistleblowing, where whistleblowing is seen as this kind of defiant political gesture against different structures and forces of oppression, and then the aspect of whistleblowing that focuses on music, right? That looks at how Indigenous communities all over the world used the flute or used music as technology to share knowledge, to create knowledge, to communicate knowledge. And all of the different lecturers that I've kind of brought into the fold of this program, they touch on both or one of these aspects. And yeah, I think they will definitely engage you and like make your mind zing.
And it's important to say that we like to look at things in a very holistic manner. So, you know, when we speak about like whistleblowing, you're gonna hear, like Aditi just mentioned, from like musicians, but you're gonna hear from politicians, you're gonna hear from sociologists, you're gonna hear from a whole realm of discipline. And of course, you're gonna get confused. That's part of the deal. And that's why it's a 2-month program. I think 2 months we made it. So you do have time as well to kind of like dive in, develop your own personal project and so forth. But the key is, when we get, I'm going to tell you the key dates, but effectively what we are expecting to come out of the program, so you get your certificate in a way from the University of the Underground, each of you will be developing your own personal project. So you're going to pick an institution, you're going to effectively look at, you know, how whistleblowing has been used in their specific institution, or what sort of like musical, you know, approach you can take in revealing some form of truth or some form of different narrative to the ways they speak about themselves or they present themselves to the public. So you're going to be doing this as part of your personal project, in line with your knowledge, of course. Then there will be a publication. So I can show you, like, every single student of the University of Zengrand always release a publication in line with what you're going to develop. So it's going to be a bit about you, a research question you're going to develop, a bit about why you did what you did, and kind of few image about the project itself. And there will be a final presentation. And then there is a podcast. I mean, you're lucky because in your tour, you do have a recording studio that is inside a little van. So effectively, you will be able to record this podcast as you go along, develop it, you know, and do all of that. So that's kind of the course, right? The actual teaching. So here is the important dates. You have an interim presentation on the 1st of June, where you present where you are with your projects. And then the final submission is the 27th of June, right? So it's just to kind of like keep this in mind. I also want to flag that we're going to invite you all to the Google Calendar. So there is two things. There is a WhatsApp where we communicate and we also email you, check your emails. And also there is a Google Calendar where we update your Google Calendar. Your Google Calendar is really where everything is. Like Victoria is going to share a screen in a second just to show you how to use your Google Calendar. But you should never turn up to a lecture without knowing who the lecturer is. You should read about their bio, and their bio is always going to be inside your Google Calendar. So you can be fully prepared. You can know a bit about this person, and you can start planning how their expertise can link up with the way that you do things, right? Then off you go. So why are we doing this? So key dates are there. So obviously tomorrow we're going I mean, today we're just briefing you. Tomorrow we're going to the Natural History Museum, so you get to know one of the things that we're gonna have on the convoy, on Tour de Moon, the festival convoy, is we have this giant squid, which is called Archie the giant squid. I mean, it's a real thing. It's like 14-meter long. We're going on tour around the UK with Archie. Don't try and link up Archie with whistleblowing. There is no direct connection, but of course you can dive in a bit further and realize that the Natural History Museum is also an institution. You know, there is all of that different layer to it. But having said that, right now, when you go to the Natural History Museum, you know, you're going to learn about some of the animals that are on our, you know, everywhere on the convoy. There is frogs, there is snakes, there is, you know, different animals that react to nightlife. And so you're going to hear from experts and, you know, basically biologists as to who are these animals, so you can actually speak about them to members of the public while you are on tour. Then you have, we also going to dive in and speak about design of experience. You're going to meet as well with Aditi, who is going to be running a workshop. And then eventually you have your full symposium day on Friday and so forth. And then you have the full list of lecture here. And you can see a very detailed rundown of every single week, what's happening, you know, who are they, what is this all about? And of course, then what the next thing, if I don't know which story, I will go on my Google Calendar, and on my Google Calendar, if everything is right, I'm not going to share my screen now because I don't know what's in my Google Calendar, but on your Google Calendar, you should be able to see all of the great detail. And then there is a convoy dates here that you can see. And of course, when you're on the convoy dates, we also put you down the hotel where you're going to be lodging. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be there. But one thing I want to make really clear, and production is going to meet you in a second, but when you're on tour, you are working effectively, right? Like, so it is like a production tool. So that it's important that you switch your mind, as in like, when I'm working, I'm working. When I am, you know, when I'm learning kind of thing. I mean, it's not that straightforward, I know. But you know, it's when do we learn, when does it stop, when it starts, but we will get to the groove of all of that as we develop. So we don't really do assessment, but there will be like critiques, there will be like tutorials, workshop, you know, all of these different things. It's important to know who to contact when. So Victoria Adams is in charge of basically everything to do with the University of the Underground, and she's also a part of Tour de Moon. So please email if you have any question. And when it comes to the production, it's Jody. So when you're on tour and you don't know what to do, this is Jody. Then, of course, Aditi is the head of program. Andrew Ashong will be facilitating. So he will be coming onto the tour and helping out with anything, question that you might have. You will have a tutor, Angeli, who used to be one of our former students as well. Jody, who is, as I mentioned, someone that is part of production. Then you will have a thesis tutor who is going to help you with the writing of your text. And of course, I will be coming in and out of all of it. So this is a bit more about the festival. This is a bit more about our funder. I mean, the interesting part, and I'm not going to lie to you, the interesting part is to know that we ourselves are whistleblowers in some ways. You know, we won a grant from the UK government, and we are using it to redistribute it to where we think it should have been distributed in the first place, which is basically 18 to 25 and nightlife artists and creators. So because we won it, like, we are able to now be in a position where we can actually like use our platform to say the thing that we want to be saying. But effectively, it is whistleblowing in itself, right? So we got into this institution with a formal manner, and we then are able to do what we are doing. So moving on from that, like, it's important to know, so you have reference and bibliography. We really encourage you to look, read, watch the films, listen to the music. We've put you in there. I'm getting to the end of the 14 page. Here you go. So that's where we are with that. Do we have any questions so far with that brief? This brief is inside the WhatsApp. Victoria, do you want to just quickly show the Google Calendar as well? And can I just ask you all, are you able to all use the WhatsApp? And are you able to all use the Google Calendar so far? And do we have anyone that doesn't know? All good? I mean, if you don't, and you can also message us if not. Victoria, do you want to share your screen?
Can you let me share the screen?
I cannot. Okay, sorry. Please do go ahead. Just so you can see how it's organized on your Google Calendar, because sometimes you might not be sure what time do I go, you know. let's see. And suddenly Victoria is going to share. There you go. Beautiful.
Everyone's calendar. Here we go.
So this is what you should be able to see. So let's say I click on what's going on like tomorrow. Look at this. This is beautiful. Oh my God, like, wow, look at this. Everything I need to know about what's happening tomorrow. Like, who are the people I'm meeting? Where am I going? Oh, I know everything. This is where I'm going tomorrow or Friday. Beautiful. Okay, anyway, one thing I want to say to you is like when there is nothing, it's actually not nothing. It can be said it's self-directed. It's like when you use your time to research, to do your thing, you know, do your bits and bobs, like, you know, like when you learn things. So actually we should never have nothing in this calendar. We should always have like self-directed whenever it's empty, you know. But anyway, so does that make sense so far?
So with the calendar, I've shared it with you all and also sent a link, I think. So if you can't access it, please can you let me know and I'll try and help you out. But it should all be with you already. Yeah, and if you have problems, let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also, I'm going to make all of the readings available in a Google Drive.
That's amazing. So there you go. So the Google Drive would be available, and you know, and because like this is the Google Calendar is amazing, then we can actually also dive in if there is any recommended reading prior to a class. It will be as well on your Google Drive, on your Google Calendar. Sorry. So we have a full day, well packed. So you're gonna hear from a digital introduction from Flying Object. So it's important to say that when we are on tour, there is recording at all time, right? So you need to know that. That's why you sign a release form, is because recording is happening. I mean, it's not Big Brother. I just want to make that clear to you. We don't expect to start, you know, like, you know, you being in front of the camera being like, day 5, I have not eaten. What is the name of that TV series where, you know, people are starving and they like go on an island and something like that? Lost, yeah. So we don't expect you to go to that level of, you know, expected, but there will be cameras. So, you know, we do expect you to kind of interact with the camera in some ways because we want to take people on a journey with us. So Flying Object has just joined us. They are our digital partner, and they're going to explain to you where the camera are going to be, how it's going to work. There will be as well a map on the website. So member of the public will be during the tour. Again, I'm switching back to the tour now. I'm not into University of the Underground mode. I am during the tour time, which start on May the 11th. May the 11th is when the tour starts. And at that point, you go in a vehicle, you're all going to be in this vehicle, and there will be, you know, iPhone, I mean, I don't know, and member of the public will be able to follow you with like a live tracking system, and not follow you. Like, it sounds like, I mean, we are not that advanced with technology. I just want to make that clear to you. We have a giant red phone on the convoy, so you'll be able to speak about that, how member of the public can talk to the moon, things like this. But anyway, do you want to tell us? I have Flying Object here with Tom Percy, with leading Flying Object, and I have Thomas Abosch, Abosch as well joining us.
Hi guys.
Do you want to just tell the Moon Arkestra what's going on with the recording? What is Talk to the Moon? What are the digital elements that they need to be aware of while they are on tour?
Sure. Okay. Tom, do you want me to go straight in, or do you want to introduce things?
Why don't I just do a quick introduction of the overall sort of digital part of it, and then yeah, I'll hand over to you, Tom. Sorry, Tom and Tom from Flying Object. We're not all called Tom, but the two of us happen to be called Tom. Yeah, so what we want to do with the digital part of Tour de Moon overall is really just to make sure that we're reaching the biggest possible audience with the experiences that we're creating. So obviously we're going to these wonderful cities. We've got the festivals in Leicester, Newcastle, and Southampton, but actually a lot of our audience aren't in any of these places and won't be able to physically attend. So we want to use video in all of its multifarious forms as a way of reaching people, give people a chance to not just sort of see wonderfully produced, perfect recordings of things, but also get a sense of what's going on under the skin, what it's like to be there, maybe see kind of the trucks going down the road, the feeling of this thing going around the country, just build that story over time of this strange and wonderful convoy of vehicles, which is touring across England, leaving, you know, mayhem in its wake. Tom's going to talk a little bit more about how we're going to do that on the video point of view. Just to talk about, explain the big red phone. So one of the other floats on the convoy is going to be a giant red phone, really quite literally a giant red phone. And the idea behind that is we've got we've built an AI-powered conversation with the moon. So we've been working with lots of young writers, as well as a team in Australia actually, and some developers, as well as WeTransfer, to build a way of basically talking to the moon, or sort of an imagined moon, which is kind of sourced from lots of different young writers. And it will be an AI conversation, a little bit like AI conversations you might have had if you talk to a chatbot or talk to Google. But often when you talk to a chatbot, you talk to Google, it's kind of doing exactly what you ask it to do. Whereas when you talk to our moon, it doesn't. And it might ask you some difficult questions, and it might make you think a little bit more differently. And it might make you think a little bit more about yourself or your relationship with this large rock which is floating around us. And people will be able to engage with that while sitting under the giant red telephone. We kind of built it in such a way that it becomes a closed space for one-to-one conversations with our chatbot on the moon. You're actually going to have like you'll be holding a phone, talking to it like this. And it'll also be available online as well through WeTransfer and through our own website, as a way of people to have this conversation whenever they want. It'll be quite unusual. We'd love you to have a go. Maybe have multiple goes at the time that you're on the convoy, and really get to know it and sort of share your experiences with it. It would be fantastic. Nelly, are you finding the big red phone? Is that what you're showing us here? You're on mute. Oh.
You're muted.
Is that me or no one else?
Okay, yeah, no, I was just showing you some renders so you can imagine a bit what does it look like, the actual convoy itself. When you're stopped, you can see member of the public are able to literally have a conversation with this big red phone, so you can kind of like pick it up and have a conversation with the moon. You have a giant inflatable where you can play, you can, you know, kind of interact with some, like a lot of these designs have been made together with some of the NASA scientists, so they can go in there and they can discover some of the crater, some of the actual like landscape of the moon. Then you have an actual giant moon, really, you know, I mean, not big science here. And then you have like lots of things. So Ali, I know you're a sport coach, but you know, there is also things that you can just play with kids or getting them to actually like interact with it in some ways. But anyway, that is not the digital part. You also have this big screen there, which is showcasing 16 short films from extremely talented filmmaker, including Mirror Fatality right there. And they will just go in loop basically as it goes along. So yeah, so that's kind of like everything that is in the convoy, together with like a sound studio telescope. You're gonna have to learn how to use a telescope as well. Anyway, all of these things, I'm sure we will get into the groove of that. But the main part is what's happening inside the truck. So inside the, how are the Moon Arkestra member gonna be recorded and communicating with the audience?
Yeah, great. Tom, do you want to talk about the video part of this then? Now you're on mute.
Sorry about that, guys. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm the video producer. So I'm going to be managing and producing things from behind the scenes, and also a bit on the tour as well. And be sending a very small crew along to kind of float around and follow you throughout the tour. So there's kind of two aspects to this. On one hand, we're going to have one guy with a camera. He's going to be a shooter director, going in, seeing your little moments of interacting, making friends, like little things on the side of the road, inside the vehicles, when you're actually there and around the festival, interacting with one another. And then the other side of things is we'd be really interested to see you actually doing some selfie footage, some user-generated content on your own phone, anything that crops up. Don't feel under too much pressure to perform too much, but if anything feels natural and you really do want to document something, please go for it. We'd love to see it. Also on that note, if you've got anything already knocking about on your phone, please send it my way. We can have a look at it, see if we can like weave it into the tapestry of the story. But essentially on tour, what we're going to do is we're going to have this very small crew, 1 or 2 people following you around in a car, coming into the convoy as well, going around your performances and trying to capture as much as you are experiencing. Please feel free to interact with them as well. Don't feel like you have to be kind of there like a fly on the wall kind of thing. We're hopefully going to be folding in a lot of other multimedia aspects as well. So we're going to be shooting with rigs, hopefully with GoPros. I'm hoping we can get a drone so we can get some really nice sweeping stuff, make the M1 look as majestic as we possibly can. But they're kind of the real logistical aspects we're looking at there. The last thing that you'll kind of need to know about is, I don't know if any of you are media trained, but in the next week or so, I'm going to send out a kind of 1-pager of do's and don'ts when you're filming your own content or when we are filming you. But don't feel under any pressure to revise this, because the director will be there to help you out and manage it. And maybe we'll retake things and re-go for things. But essentially, this is all the kind of like no swearing, no defamation, not naming anyone, not filming anyone that's not part of the content, and some hints and tips on like how to get the best content for your own user generated stuff as well. But like I say, I'm going to outline this all again in a little doc. And if you need to ask me any questions, anything at all, I will forward you my contact details. Just feel free to ping me a WhatsApp or give me a call. But that's sort of broadly it and how we'll be working, I think. So I'm looking forward to working with you. Very exciting.
And remember, everyone, that we have until May the 11th to iron out any question you might have, like, you know, if you're not feeling confident about this, no, like, you know, we have time to actually really get to the nitty-gritty of it, like, who is this person? How do I get to speak to such and such? I mean, it's no wonder. It's a nationwide festival. It's in the public eye, like, you know, it is a huge platform. And we want this to be a huge platform. We don't want it to be, you know, we run the University of the Underground. We've been underground for a long time. This is not To the Moon. To the Moon is a really public facing, like, huge platform. We take over the UK, you know, treasury, and we are basically doing it differently. So I guess it's kind of like also being aware of that reality as well. Like, it is a big festival, and who knows, you might find that there is 10,000 people waiting outside, or there might be nobody. I don't know. You know, it's like a good gig, you know, you never know what's going to happen in a way. So you do need to be also open-minded in terms of like what you're going to get, and, you know, and kind of like be aware of that. So anyway, I have Jody that just joined us with From Production. So Jody is going to be able to speak a bit more now about the tour. And please don't worry, there is, like, again, we're always going to be moving, because also Aditi is also Moon Music Curator. I'm also running the festival To the Moon, and I'm also directing the University of the Underground. We all have multiple hats, right? So I think it's part of the way that we run things. We a bit schizophrenic like that. But the good news is some of us are just affiliated to one project and not the other. So here we have Jody, who is really in production mode, and she's going to be with you on the tour as a live event manager. So tell us a bit more about what's happening on the tour from your production perspective. What's going on? Like, what's going to happen? What does the daily life of a Moon Arkestra member on tour is like? Do you wake them up with a casserole? I don't know. What do you do? Is there someone waiting for them to clean their pants? Like, how does that work?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see your faces again after the interviews. I hope you're all well. So, yeah, good question. Do we wake up with casserole? That's not really a breakfast dish I've had before, but hopefully it'll be something that smells good anyway. So, yeah, hi, everyone. I'm going to be the live event producer and manager. And we're going to have Rohit with us, who is our production coordinator. The team will also have a site and safety manager, and we will have a tech manager who'll be sorting all of our sound and lighting. We have got a couple of other general crews. We've got Charlie, who's running our bar, and so, you know, we've got a decent sized team, and we will be supporting you, and you'll be helping us, and some tasks will be quite general and other things will be quite specific. You will be working, but I hope also learning a lot. And yeah, as part of our crew, feel free to, along the tour, ask any questions, learn from the sound tech, and learn from, you know, building the stage with us and setting things up. And yeah, we hope that you come away feeling really excited about working on other projects similar, and learning a lot, so that you're really prepared for performing in the future. So the daily life. As you've probably seen from the dates, we do have a lot of consecutive days, and these are our single events in the towns that we're doing. We then also have the cities, which are the four-day ones, and sometimes they have some space in between. But really, it's going to be pretty fast-paced. There's going to be a lot happening, and for these consecutive ones especially, I'll just go through some timing so you can sort of understand it a little bit better, and then I'll talk about the cities. So for each of the different towns, so these are Huddersfield and Grimsby and Bletchley and Milton Keynes, each of these, the events are going to start at 6 p.m. and go on until 10 to 10:30 p.m. So they are evening shows. So in the morning of each of these days, you'll wake up in your hotels, hopefully having slept well, maybe to the smell of something nice like casserole. Rohit will meet you there. We'll all be the whole crew will be staying in the same hotel, so we'll all be together, and you'll be jumping on board the vehicles. You'll be aiming to leave at around oh, hold on one sec, I'm just going to get all my notes up again. Here we go. So we'll be aiming to leave in the convoy at about 10 a.m. Sometimes it might be a bit later, like 11 a.m. By 11, you'd have to check out of your hotels anyway. So that's the aim, that's the timings that we're aiming for. I will actually be going off on my own to be there, because we've got things like portaloos and the stretch tent being built and loads of other logistical things. So I'll be there a little bit early, and I'll meet you all there whenever you're ready. Rohit and a couple of the other crew members will be traveling with you, and you will go on a mixture of the orchestra van, which is the welfare van. On there, we've got a toilet. We've got some tea and coffee facilities. We've got storage for your bags and everything. And so you'll be traveling, some of you in that, and if there's space, you might also go in the production van and travel with other crew members. So each journey to each different town is somewhere between half an hour, and absolute maximum is about 2 hours long. So that's a rough idea of how long the journeys will be. So you should arrive on site to each place between 11 and 12 during the day. So in some cases, Rohit has all of these details, but in some cases you may be able to straight away go and check into your hotel room, drop off all your stuff. In other cases, you can leave all your stuff in the welfare van or whatever van you've traveled in. It'll be nice and safe with us. For most cases, because I know you'll be doing some lectures and other things during the day, you may not be needed till a lot later in the afternoon. But because the show starts at 6, absolute latest we would ever require you is 5 p.m. because really we want you there for a couple of hours before to help set us up. But I think what we'll do is just check in with any other commitments you have, any lectures and stuff, to make sure that's all good. So if we say 4, that would be great. And then so you'll have some time in the day for some learning, some time of your own, some resting time once you've traveled there, and then you'll help us with the setup of each event. So the setup is going to look like starting with offloading everything off the production truck. These can be the magazines, the inflatables, the generators, the marquees, the trestle tables, the benches, any decor, the music kit, the sound kit. So all of that, we'll do a big kind of group effort at that, getting everything off and putting it all in the right places. And then it will be a lot of setting up, and what we do is kind of probably spread you out, and you can let us know where you'd like to be. It might be setting up the stretch tent, which is where you'll be performing, anyone who's performing, or it could be helping any of the other areas set up where they are. So it could be helping set up the bar, maybe for the Moon talks and workshops, and checking where like the vehicles are all placed according to our site plan for the Moon cinema. So really you will be guided, don't worry, we won't just expect you to know what to do. We will talk you through everything really clearly, and we'll spread you out. And feel free to tell us, I'm really interested in this, so can you put me here? You know, someone who really wants to learn about setting up a PA system and the CDJs, we can put you with Tim or Camillo. So, you know, talk to us, and we want you to be happy and learn. So we don't want to put you somewhere that you're not really that interested in, but it will be a bit of a group effort. So yeah, setting up, it will be everything to get ready for a 6 p.m. start. There might be some more decor bits and setting up the tables and chairs and setting up the seating area within the stretch tent. So a whole range of different sort of event and festival. I know a lot of you have a lot of experience setting up events, so I'm sure you know the sorts of things. So then when doors open, again, you will be stationed somewhere, but you might also move around a little bit. But you'll be stationed somewhere and you will help the running of that. So some of you will be performing live. Some of you will be helping with the moon game, so the inflatable, and helping guide people through that. Some of you will be helping with the moon talks and workshops, helping within the bar, helping with the talk to the moon tech so that people can have a conversation with Luna, helping in the recording studio as well so that people can come and like record their own tracks there, helping with the cinema. And I think like the overall thing for us is that whenever you're not performing live, is that you're helping guiding the public around all of these activities. So it's very public facing, it's very dealing with the people who are coming to this. So just if anyone struggles with any of that at any point, you can ask questions, but it's going to be guiding people around and answering their questions and getting them excited about it, telling them where to go next. And it's going to be, you know, open to the public and people of all ages. So you may get families coming down and having lots of questions about what's appropriate for their kids to be doing, and you can guide them and give them tips on what to do. So yeah, kind of all hands on deck for the live event, once the doors are open. And performance wise, obviously this will be programmed to perfection, I imagine, but just as a rough idea, we will have sort of like 15 to 20 minute changeover times for the actual Moon Arkestra performances within the stretch tent. We'll have some sound checks before as well, which we hope that you'll be able to help us with, but also throughout we'll have some space in between to set up for the next performance. And then we imagine 10 p.m. will be the cutoff point for when the live show might stop, but it might go on to sort of 10:30, and depending on licenses, like 11 o'clock will be the cutoff. That'll be the latest that we ever have anything live, but what we're aiming for is 10. So this means then we have to pack down pretty much everything we've set up. You don't need to worry about the vehicles as such, because they're going to stay overnight, because we'll have security and then we'll all leave together as the convoy the next morning. But you know, the stretch, anything within the stretch tent, packing down whatever we set up really. So decor and seating and the sound system. We imagine the pack down will be about an hour to an hour and a half. But as I'm sure lots of you know, you're gonna, the days are sometimes shorter and sometimes longer. So that's like a rough idea. So it is a relatively late finish, but then all of our hotels Rohit has booked for everyone are very close. So then we will walk or drive, and the safety and the site and safety manager, along with Rohit, will like walk you back, drive you back, and make sure everyone's back safe in the hotel room to rest for the next day. And then we'll pick it up and do it all again.
There is as well some DJs. I mean, you know, it doesn't just rely all onto your performance, just so you know, like, I mean, one thing we were talking about with Aditi was obviously like some of you are in complete different musical genre and style. You know, I'm just thinking Mirror Fatality meet with Aisha is like going to be completely electric. Meet with Christopher, like it's like you are completely from a different world, like literally musically. You couldn't be more like a different space of the spectrum. And that is really exciting to us, because we are about pioneering anything that is alien and that doesn't sound like things that we have heard before. So, you know, part of it is going to be a bit like Marmite. You know, people are going to find us arriving in Grimsby and they might love it or hate it. Like, it's kind of like just being prepared for that kind of things. But also we do ask you an open mind. So like same Year of Fatality, we ask you to sing with harmonic, because Aisha wants you to perform it as part of his piece that he's been inventing. Then you should be able to also try that, you know, if that's the deal kind of thing, you know. So I guess this is kind of like how it's gonna be, but it should be really fun in general. Like, So I've just shared with you actually, Mirror Fatati, you asked about dress code. So I didn't actually think about you specifically having a dress code. Like we have a dress code for the crew, like the producer, I've got a dress code and so forth. One thing I would say though, because you're going to be on camera and there will be camera a lot, like we don't want any brands, like, so avoid having like Nikes, Adidas, Red Bull, like whatever, like just really avoid all of that stuff. You know, just because it will make the life of, I mean, again, we might look massive to you as a production, but we're actually quite small. Like these are the people you're meeting now are the people doing the festival, right? Like there is nobody else, you know what I mean? So like the person that is going to be filming is the person that is going to be filming and doing the editing. So if you turn up with a giant like champion jumper, then the person that is going to be editing the champion brand is going to be the person that you meet every morning at the breakfast, you know what I mean? So if you want to make that person life really complicated, then wear the giant champion, or just you can wear as well your, so we will provide you with this t-shirt and with the jumpers, so you can use them, wear them. They come as well in black if you prefer. But you know, what I will say is just recommendation of not wearing anything with a big brand. And then we will also provide you with one, what we could say a work t-shirt and a work jumper that you can wear or not. I'm not gonna, you know, we are all about priority again. So it's important that you also feel, you know, well in what you're wearing. So it's there, it's available if you wanted to, you don't have to either. Although it could be quite nice for some of the photo shoots, if we do get a photographer, which we should have, that maybe at some point we do have like a bit of a group picture sometimes, but yeah, that is that. Okay. Any more questions that you might have for Jody and production? You mentioned it as well, but there will be zine. You know, we produce a zine every month that is being released during the full moon. It's called Moon Press. And we also collaborating with independent zine maker all over the UK. And there will be a lot of their artwork as well available. And you will be able to recommend people to donate or to go to such and such independent zine maker, so they can kind of like buy their work or do things like that as well as part of the tour.
Cool. I've got a couple more things just in terms of like preparation before we leave, if I've got time.
I think so. I don't know who is supposed to come now. Like John Akin is supposed to give a safeguarding. John?
I think I was actually meant to start at 5:30, so I started a little bit early. So I don't know if I spoke over anyone.
Go for it, Jody. Tell us more.
It's only a little bit more, but basically, I think all of you should have already given your details to Lizzie for the enhanced DBS check. So I believe all of that has now gone off. But you will, if you haven't already, receive another email from Lizzie, and this is for your safeguarding training. So this is really, really important, not just for this project, but like going forward, it's actually an amazing thing to have on your CV. But we do need you to fill it out, and you'll get an email with a link, and it's an NSPCC safeguarding like course. It's 3 hours long online. So if you're able to find the time to do this before, that would be amazing. She will send you an email, and then they'll have login details there. It will say this in the email as well, but just so you can prepare for it. In the email, it will give you a temporary password, and then you can get on, change your password, and then you can kind of come and go and log in and do this training. And this is because all of you are going to be dealing with the public, but also because it's open to all ages, there will be children and at-risk adults. So not only is the DBS enhanced check compulsory, but also this safeguarding thing. It's to protect yourselves, it's to protect the project, it's to protect the public. It's an important thing. So we'd really appreciate it if, as soon as possible, you'd be able to log in when you get the email from Lizzie, do the training. Like I said, 3 hours long online. I think you might be able to come and go. So like if you're all really busy, you can do a bit and come back to it. But I think that's everything in terms of what you need to know beforehand. In terms of the programming, a little bit down the line, we'll have like more information on the exact programming of the show. But apart from that, that's everything for the kind of tour side of things.
So this is it. So DBS check is compulsory. So we need to check, whether or not you have the DBS check. So I don't know what that means, direct deposit. I don't know what that means. What is direct?
Wait,
Sorry,
I could be getting confused, but is this the DBS check that we did? Is that to be able to receive the payments for the residency?
No, no, it's not about that. It's more because you're gonna be in touch with the public.
Okay.
And we need, like, part of the commissioning agreement we have is that, you know, if we're gonna go and present people to the public, we need to know that, you know, they've had DBS check, basically, that they didn't, you know, add crimes or, you know, and things like that. That's part of the, you know, unfortunately, the part of the obligation we have to do by law.
Yeah, it's what like all teachers and mentors and anyone working with youth or working with at-risk adults, like it's pretty standard for anyone working in that kind of capacity when they're dealing with the public to have. So also it's something that, again, it lasts a while, so for like other opportunities it means you're fully checked.
But to be clear, we pay for it, if that's what you're asking. So we're paying for the DBS check. All you have to do is to enter, like, where did you live like 5 years ago or something like that? What is the questions that they are asking? And then, but you need to do that ASAP, because I think it takes quite some time to actually get that approved, you know. That's one thing. Then the other thing is safeguarding training. So for those of you that don't know what safeguarding is, it's like, you know, like, say you see something that is not quite right, you know, what to do, like, as in you should always be 2 people with member of the public, never on your own. You know, it's kind of like teaching you a lot of the practical, but also, like, if you see someone that is coming to you and telling you that they don't feel well, or that they, you know, I don't know, they want to harm themselves or something like that, what to do, you know, what will be the next step? What sort of like action mode do you put in place, and what are the processes in place? I mean, obviously in your case, if someone comes to you and say they want to hurt themselves, the first thing you do is you go straight to your line manager, which is going to be Jody on tour, right? Not Aditi. Aditi is head of program, she's teaching, but she can definitely tell you about if there is a situation like this, which is a situation that's look a bit urgent, you don't go to Aditi. No, you go straight to Jody Powell. So that she can kind of like resolve the situation. But you do need a safeguarding training, which we'll be providing as well. And it's the same thing, we will pay for it as well. And it is useful. It's something that you can keep forever and say, hey, I'm safeguard trained. I can deal with any vulnerable adult. I've done this before. You know, I can go and train and do like teaching, everything, basically. That makes sense. Yeah. Do we know when this is happening, the safeguarding? Because I didn't have that into the calendar, just so you know, Jody.
Well, has anyone received an email from Lizzie yet? Because she sent me a test one yesterday just to check it all works. So maybe it will come in the next couple of days. Yeah, and it's an online thing, so it will be a link. You log in with the temporary password she's given you. You then change your password. And then whenever you can, as soon as possible, you do the online training. So yeah, just keep an eye on your emails, and I'm sure very soon it will come through.
Okay, cool. I have one question. I'm not sure if I fully understood what we'll be doing between 12 and 5. So wake up at 10, travel to the place to where we're going for 12. Yeah. And then at 5, we start helping set up the tents and getting, you know, the PA ready and stuff like this. But what will be happening between 12 and 5?
So this time, I believe, is learning time. So there'll be some lectures, and this time we've left free. I think it's University of the Underground time, actually. So maybe that's a question for Aditi and Nelly, because we have specifically left you that time because we understand, you know, this is part of the learning part of things, and then we're the kind of job part that you turn up to a bit later. So yeah, I believe there's been some lectures programmed, is that right?
There is some lecture program, but they are programmed during the convoy itself. So like during the time where they are walking during the convoy. So, but you know, it's self-directed. So you can either work on your personal projects, or you can just go and hang around Grimsley and kind of advocate for your festival. Basically bring on people, go and meet people, like bring them in, like tell them you're performing tonight, you're part of this like thing with a giant squid, you know, I don't know. Just meet some people, basically. Just enjoy yourself. Just don't come drunk or anything like that, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the world.
yeah, it's a learning time, it's rest time, it's whatever you need to do. The nights are going to be late, and then you're going to be, you know, sometimes you might finish at midnight, you go back to your hotel, you rest, and you got to get up and be ready to leave and check out of your hotel by 10 a.m. So yeah, the daytime really is like Nelly said, it's self-directed, so it's down to you. There might be lectures, you can work on your own projects, but yeah, you won't be needed on site working during those times. Oh, it's probably worth mentioning now that, yeah, the cities, they are slightly different times. So the city events, which are Leicester, Southampton, and Newcastle, because it's instead of 6 p.m. till 10:30 p.m., it's 3 p.m. till 9 p.m. And that's every day. So for those 3 festivals, it's a 4-day event. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So it'll be slightly earlier start. So because they're over weekends, yeah, we figured maybe that you wouldn't have some other things going on during the day. So hopefully it's okay for you to come earlier instead. So the setup time might be more like 12 or 1 p.m. for the show to start at 3 p.m. But then you finish a little bit earlier too.
The shame being that, of course, you're going to be working when we are having the other events. But having said that, when we are in the key city, Leicester, Southampton, and Newcastle, we're going on until 5 a.m. There is after parties, there is tons of stuff going on, yeah. So you will have a good time, but you know, you're gonna miss Moon Experiences, which is when we take over derelict building and we make this theatrical event. We've done new sets, new play, like it's completely mental, like what we're doing in these key cities. But a lot of that, you know, maybe we can do a pre-tour for you all, like before you start, like we will figure a way so you can at least come into the show, but it's during your show time as well. We've just been joined by John Akinde, who is our community and engagement lead. John Akinde, I'm actually realizing, so we have a folder. Victoria, are you still on the line? I think it would be a good thing to share that folder as well with the Moon Arkestra member, because this folder contains different things, right? It's got accessibility and disability glossary terms, because of course, you know, we are specifically the festival, you know, we are a festival that is advocating for basically, you know, any marginalized community, and basically in that sense as well, whoever has got accessibility or has had or experienced accessibility issue is welcome as part of the festival. So you're gonna have like, you know, like all of the language and term we use, like some of this stuff as well. Like if you're like me, you're not English speaker, or English is not your first language, you might not know. So it's like, you know, how do you communicate? Like, what do you say? What do you not say? I mean, obviously, it's not what you say, what you do not say. Like everyone doesn't, you know, you're not all born with like an innate knowledge of what, you know, what can be or not, you know, consider as being offensive. But this is why this is there. Do you want to say like, so you have these documents there that are available for you, and there is as well our ADI commitment, equality, diversity, inclusion. Do you want to, John?
Yo, what up? How's it going? Should I get into it? So what's going on, people? My name's John. Learning engagement lead. It's good to meet you all and that as well. Obviously get me shout out to the energy out here, the energy crew out here. And just literally want to talk to you about safeguarding and EDI really. And I will kind of really just start off with kind of what is safeguarding really, and just kind of talk about what that really means. Obviously, safeguarding really refers to the process and the actions we take to promote the well-being and welfare of children and vulnerable adults and protect them from harm. Because the world can be crazy out here, like on a real talks thing, man. There's loads of things happening. And I guess especially in your roles as Moon Arkestra members, a lot of kind of potential risks and I guess issues might come up in your interactions with folk and different people from varying backgrounds. It happens. It is what it is. So safeguarding is the kind of thing to kind of protect you, but also protect people that we work with as well. Why do we need safeguarding? Like I said, in the environment that you're working in, you have a responsibility when you come into contact with young people or vulnerable adults, and it's kind of a legal requirement for us to have an understanding of safeguarding in that sense as well. So just to kind of talk about who can be vulnerable and dig a little bit deeper into what that is. So who can be vulnerable? children can be vulnerable. So a child is any person under the age of 18, and they're protected by the United Nations Convention. So they got some serious protection out here when you're protected by the United Nations out here. You know what I mean? That's some serious stuff. So all children, despite where you're from, you're basically protected by the United Nations Convention, and that is your fundamental rights, which may and can be kind of hinged upon when you're interacting in different spaces. There's also adults that are at risk, what we call at risk. We also have this term which is called like at-risk young people, and sometimes, particularly when on the convoy, we may interact with young people or adults who are considered to be at risk as well. So these are, when I mean at risk, is be young people that are at risk of gang violence, for example, young people that are at risk from a wide variety of things, but it's kind of a risk of abuse or neglect because they're an adult with a support or care need, and who who maybe the system has kind of said they can't necessarily protect themselves as such. And I like to kind of go through some kind of scenarios or kind of situations where you'll see certain people who are essentially at an increased risk of abuse. So who's at an increased risk of abuse? Obviously children, you get me, because it's easy for you to kind of, do what, it's easy to kind of do loads of things with kids. So you got to be careful with kids. You got to be seriously careful with kids. People dependent on others for assistance. So if there's somebody dependent on others in regards to finances or personal care, and these could be people that potentially have a learning difficulty or not, but there could be a wide multitude of situations, like young people who come from care backgrounds as well, particularly being aware of that. There's
and again, just to reassure you, like you're gonna get a safeguarding training as well, huh? So you're gonna really get it loud and clear, as in the do and the don't. You don't go with you don't go with a kid to the toilet, you don't bring them to the toilet, you don't, all of that stuff, that's gonna be all cleared out for you. But yeah, use common sense for now. But yeah, please.
Yeah. So yeah, and some other type of people that are at increased risk, like people who lack the capacity for consent as well. And there could be a multitude of reasons why someone lacks the capacity of consent. People need support with communication. People need support with mobility, for example, as well. Isolated people. And then people that may experience discrimination as well. One example could be, I guess, a lot of the kind of discrimination that happens with the Roma Gypsy community, and a lot of young people as well, in my experience as well, and working in kind of youth sector environments. That kind of discrimination, that type of discrimination is quite widespread. So you can literally be, it can be quite common. So it's kind of a thing to look out for. And I guess all these kind of things and our understanding of, interaction with the public means that there is an increased risk of abuse when you interact with people. So we have to kind of come up with a safeguarding policy. And our safeguarding policy is widely available, and you'll be able to kind of have a look at that and understand, what is, the plan and call to action on the live dates when you're actually in contact or doing public-facing work. You'll be very much briefed on who you need to contact in regards to safeguarding issues, and very clear numbers, like the NSPCC, but also internally in the team. That will be widely available to you on the actual day as well. And in that sense, kind of thinking as well, EDI and how that relates to safeguarding. So EDI stands for equity, diversity, and inclusion. And that's essentially, a lens in which we'd like to operate and navigate our work, looking at accessibility and the commitments we set ourselves to really be a high standard of equity, diversity, inclusion. There's a folder which is on our drive, which essentially gives you, a glossary of terms to really look at when we're talking about EDI thinking as well. And Nelly's got quite a useful slide sheet which you can all have a look at as well, to kind of get a good understanding of what EDI means. Basically fair treatment and opportunity for all. And it's looking at how we can really break down those barriers and, remove, access issues that are, based on diversity and making sure people are included, really. Those are some of the kind of concepts and ways of thinking that we've we've thought about and kind of brought into our way of working, really. So that will be available to you as well, and you get hold of all of that.
Thank you so much, John. So Veronique was just asking for a break. So we're going to take a break now, actually. Like if you want to take like a 10-minute break until the next session that is starting at 6, please be back at 6 if you can. But we're going to share with you the ADI commitment, the glossary as well, accessibility glossary. Do you have the safeguarding? Like I don't have that actually, John. Do you have like a safeguarding presentation anywhere?
Yeah. I mean, I can put that
on the WhatsApp, and then I can add that in there.
Sounds good.
We'll provide it to you. We do appreciate there is quite a lot of information. The main thing is to know where they are, right? So once you get your points, as in this is my Google Drive, this is my WhatsApp, this is like all of the links, then you just need to organize it in a way that you can always refer back to it if you're unsure. You know, I think that's kind of the key. I don't know how you function. Everybody is different. Like maybe you have a note, you know, on your phone where you have all the web links. I don't know. But we're going to take a little break.
Nice.
And we're going to thank you, John, for your presentation, and thank you all of our presenters so far. And we see you at 6. All right. I'm staying on.
Ooh.
I'm just going to pause this Hey, Ole. Hello, hello. They're all taking a little break. They're coming back in 3 minutes.
Ah, got it. Okay, perfect. So I'm not late. I thought I was late for the slot.
No, you're spot on time.
How's it been going?
I mean, I actually cannot believe how sharp on time we are.
Woo.
It's like, honestly, it's like if we organize this.
So good. Oh, well, it looks like there's been a pretty full program as well. So that's good that everyone's hit their timings.
I mean, this is definitely an experience. I mean, it's a good introduction to everything.
Yeah, definitely. And they've got their trip tomorrow, haven't they? Are you going to go as well? Or
Yeah. No, I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
I mean, this Quid and I, it's like, it's a love story, you know, like I've been looking right in his eyes balls for like 2 years.
So good.
Do you know it's the second biggest eyeball of the animal kingdom?
I did not know that. What's the biggest?
Well, that's the question I never asked. When it's
Tomorrow,
because every single time I say this, the question then is like, what's the biggest? I'm like, it never occurred to me. Like I'm just happy with the number 2, you know?
Happy with the second biggest. That's all good. Love it. No, it will be really good. And it's really nice because Marina's coming as well, isn't she, to get some content.
Yeah.
And Lux is also on the list.
Lux is coming as well.
I mean, I messaged them to invite because someone said they wanted to come, and they're on the list, so they're most welcome. But
brilliant. Okay, well, I'll drop them a note. Maybe we can drop them a note just to confirm, because I'm sure that they'd love. It's a lovely day out, guys. The Natural History Museum. Very jealous.
Yeah, me too.
Perfect. Okay, well, give me a heads up when we've got people.
We told them 6, so I guess shop in time. Shop in time. We just I just would give anything for some chocolate. Anything. Honestly, like, you know, Vicky Gere is like putting me on a diet right now. Not even like, I'm not even, all I get, no more chocolate, you know. It's like,
but it's just been Easter, so everyone's done in.
We are on the end of this project, so the funds are going dry, you know. So it's no more chocolate, no more coffee, no more nothing.
Just water.
It's like literally, I'm like running with like 2 sticks, you know. I could bite my fingers. That's all I have left. Okay, everyone is back. And who are we missing? Franz, Zoe, Ale. Ale, let's wake up, everyone. This is it. We are coming back. And it is so, we are now with Platform 13, people.
Hello.
Platform 13 is the legendary marketing team behind To the Moon. So they are in charge of marketing. They are the social media faces of To the Moon. They are, you know, like working their magic to bring people to come and see you doing your gigs at as part of Moon Convoy. And it's not easy. And Oli here, Oli Hunt, is working at Platform 13 with Leila Fatah. And well, Oli, what is your title? Your head of strategy.
Head of strategy is the day jobs. But yeah, only one part of Platform 13. So representing the full team, as Nelly said here today. And yeah, really lovely to meet you all. I guess, Nelly, if you're all good for me just to crack on.
Yes.
I can. I've been given some points very kindly by Victoria to fill you guys in on. But I think just to say this will only be kind of a glimpse of all of the marketing and communications work that we are doing, and more than happy, we've got an incredible project manager, incredible team that's working on Tour de Moon. If anyone's got any questions after the session, I'll circulate all emails and just fire them our way. So as Nelly said, we are Platform 13. I popped our link in the chat, but really important to kind of highlight that we are a cultural partner. We are a cultural company. We are not a traditional marketing or advertising agency. And in fact, our founder, Leila Fatah, set up her business in precisely that way, to challenge all the negative things about the marketing and advertising industry. So some of you may have experienced a few of those yourself, but we are extremely ethical and equitable in all of the work that we do. And this is why we were so excited to be part of the Tour de Moon journey and Tour de Moon project, because it's extremely aligned with our values and the way in which we like to work. So I guess that's kind of everything, and we'll be able to send you over a bit of a who's who. But as I've said, happy to field any questions that anyone's got, and kind of the point of contact along with our project manager, George. As Nelly said, we are looking after marketing and communication. So kind of everything that sits within that, from kind of out of home, the social channels, the newsletters, PR, everything that comes under the marketing umbrella. We are your people. So we're always trying to make sure that Nelly has less emails to look at and less things to do. So any kind of like social questions like that, always just ping them over to us and we can make sure that we get those answered for you. So in terms of kind of the Tour de Moon channels, the one that's probably most interesting for our conversation, the incredible work that you guys are doing, is the Tour de Moon social channels. So that's primarily Instagram first. I really hope that everyone is already following Tour de Moon on Instagram. I'm going to put it in the chat again here. Great opportunity to give it a follow and tell all your friends to follow it as well, if they're not already. But I think this is where we really love to kind of get your amazing brains, work, input, and kind of get some of your faces on the channels and be talking about the incredible stuff that you guys are doing. So probably from my side, tend to be looking more after the PR. Would love for Layla and our community manager, Lux, to be able to connect in with you guys on any opportunities for us to be able to speak to you and to be able to share the progress of the project that you're doing with the orchestra. So I think in terms of that, we'll probably take that as a bit of an action and I'll ping that over afterwards. But would also love to share with you a bit of a one-pager, and I might share my screen if that's, have I got this? Have I got the power? I'm not sure if I have.
Yes, you always have the power.
Ooh, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up some copy that I hope you haven't seen yet already. If you have, we'll pull it down. That kind of articulates what we believe the Tour de Moon mission to be. This has been worked on very closely with Nelly. That gives you a bit of an idea from a marketing and communications perspective how we are talking about Tour de Moon. So I'll bring this full screen so everyone can see. Nelly, has anyone seen this before, or is this?
No, and actually, if you want to share that with me, because I'm going to compile it all into a Google Drive for everyone. So at least every single document that you have come across during this presentation, we're going to share in one place.
Great. So again, I'll read this out to you, but feel free to read it yourself if you're sick of listening. But Tour de Moon, when you boil it down, is essentially a direct response to the current world that we live in, where history is unfortunately repeating itself, as we're seeing in the news agenda, etc. So Tour de Moon really invites you to ask, why can't we imagine a new way of thinking, dreaming, or doing? And we really need to use radical imagination to create alternative futures, which I'm sure Nelly has already spoken about. Tour de Moon provides a platform for fresh thinking and new ideas, and at its heart is a unique and immersive 3-city, 4-day festival of free public events, all linked, as I'm sure you've seen, by the incredible touring sustainable convoy, and celebrating nightlife and youth countercultures from across the UK and beyond it. So as you guys are part of this, Tour de Moon is composed of more than 90 incredible individuals, as well as the Youth Reporter Board, Advisory Board, etc., all working together to build a festival committed to plurality, decolonial practices, social and racial justice, solidarity, and equity. So if you had to put the incredible Tour de Moon on one page, we hope that this would be it. But as Nelly said, we'll get this over to you, so you've got this to kind of refer back to. But yeah, really important to kind of align here. Anything else to add to that, Nelly? Or...
No, but I guess maybe the moon. You know, like, I mean, obviously we're gonna go and see the squid tomorrow. Yes. Why?
So again, just a quick, as Nelly said, why the moon? That is an incredibly important part and really the canvas of the entire festival and experience. And yes, as Nelly said, that's exactly why you're going to the Natural History Museum, to learn more about the incredible animal kingdom, like Archie the squid, that are impacted by the lunar cycle. But really, if we had to boil it down, this idea of the moon being the blank canvas where anything is possible, nightmares, hallucinations, visions, and fantasies all make our experience of nightlife unique. It's also outside the traditional confines of daylight hours, where we can really use our radical imagination to imagine new possibilities. So I'm sure you guys may be aware of some of the other incredible activity that's happening as part of the project, like Talk to the Moon, the AI program. But really, yeah, the moon is our canvas here. And again, we've kind of touched on this already. This urgency of Tour de Moon is really important, and you will see that reflected in the communications that we're looking after. And again, as we've said, this idea that Tour de Moon is a direct response to the current world that we live in. So I think that is a very, very quick snapshot of kind of the overview of messaging for marketing and comms. Who's put in, thank you for whoever put in all of the handles in the chat. And also the newsletter as well. And that will become a really important part of how we're communicating all of the activity that we're doing. You know, we may be hitting some of you up for kind of commentary and kind of specific content on certain things, and really looking forward to chatting more about that. There is another element, which again, I will probably be connecting Lux and Layla in on, which is the content capture whilst on the tour. We're going to be putting together a brief for this. So you'll have a brief to look at, to use as inspiration, and that will also include really clear kind of news. Oh,
you're right.
Someone chatting to me, or is that an audio? Not sure. Well, yeah, we'll ping that brief over kind of early next week, but essentially, please ask any and all questions once we send that over. Obviously, as I'm sure the team have spoken about, you know, responsibility is really important, alignment with messaging and making sure that we're all, you know, saying the right things and being very sensitive to some of the sensitive topics that I know that you guys are covering as well. So we'll be in touch with that brief. We'll have hashtags, etc., and all the information you need. And I believe that was everything on my list. Is there any immediate burning questions or anything, Victoria or Nelly, you'd like us to touch on in the 5 minutes that we haven't used in our slot?
Maybe if anyone has got some questions or, you know, any question about marketing, I mean, I'm sure that's gonna take some time to, you know, kind of get there, but like effectively they are, you know, Oli and the team are putting together a brief for you. So as in how you can be a part of the whole marketing effort, you know, at the end of the day, like, and again, like, you know, you have your own channels, you're doing your own thing. That's also is completely fine. You know, perhaps just tag Lux with on the other side so she can repost, they can repost, apologies. And then, you know, that can kind of like be a way of doing it in a way. Like, we don't expect you to take over the social media channel, but definitely to be proactive in trying to like engage with the community around the UK. Having said that, like, I don't have much of a connection all around the UK. Maybe some of you do, and that's great. But, you know, it's kind of like also expanding your network.
Definitely. Brilliant. Well, okay. Thank you so much. What I will do, Nelly and Victoria, when we've got the brief ready and we've got it signed off by you, we'll obviously just get everyone's emails so we can send that over. But yeah, lovely to meet you all. I'm really looking forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Oli. Bye. Bye. Any more questions that we have? So we're going to be joined by Majid. Aditi, you still on the line, or are you still in the taxi? Like, where are you going is what I want to know, Aditi. It's like you're still in the car.
I'm still here. I'm still in the car, going strong.
I mean, hopefully so while we are having like 5 minutes break, like while we are waiting for Majid. So Majid is one of our directors. He's the director and founder of Union of Justice, which, you know, I'm sure he's going to tell you all about, and is also one of the co-director. But anyway, before he gets in, and he's going to tell you about media training, because he used to be the former mayor of Sheffield. So he knows a bunch about politics, and you know a bunch about, you know, how to engage with medias and how to disseminate your content in an interesting manner and be creative about it. Because what we don't want to see happen is to be system shut down, right? Like, the beauty of whistleblowing is you use the power of your breath to actually, like, you know, kind of develop the content or the musical harmonics. You kind of want to do that throughout the entire tour. You don't want to be stopped at the beginning. But anyway, Just really quickly, while we are waiting for Majid, just so you know, tomorrow we are meeting at 11 a.m. Please come earlier than 11 a.m. If you can be there, like say 10:55, and we can meet at the staff entrance on Exhibition Road. Make sure you go at the staff entrance, and make sure you message me onto the WhatsApp when you're there. Don't just go in, like, because we will have, you know, it's nicer to be all together as well, and we come as a group. Then we will go to the tank room, which, as it sounds, is a tank room. I don't know if you know, but the Natural History Museum is the biggest consumer of alcohol of the entire UK and pretty much Europe, because they are keeping like all of these animal in formals. So this is amazing. Like, it's going to smell alcohol everywhere. Then we go, you know, we go and meet with Archie, you know, then we go to, well, anyway, you're going to meet with a lot of their curators. And then finally we get like a little group to go around the museum to go and see some moonworks, some fluorine, to do all of these different things. And then eventually we will share our findings, and we will then part ways. Not forever, because after we all going, where are we going, Victoria? I don't know. You're all doing whatever you want, but then we go back to the village underground. Is that right, Vic? We all coming back to the village underground, which is here, like you can see right there, like Vicky Géret here. This is our office. So you're all gonna be joining me eventually in the office, and I will be giving you a lecture on the University of the Underground, what the previous students have done, what is the design of experiences, a bit more about things that, you know, we've done in the past and things like that. And then we will all go together to see Aditi run a workshop. And Majid, are you there on the line? Majid, everyone, hello. Hey. So Majid is one of the directors of Tour de Moon Limited. We are, how many directors are we? We are 5, including Majid. Basically, the UK government wouldn't trust me with the UK Treasury. So they just made sure that there was a few people attached to the bank account. And Majid is, of course, one of the very sensitive person that is also, you know.
I trust you, Nelly, even if they don't. Even if they don't.
So I mentioned to everyone that you were the former mayor of Sheffield, and you know a bunch about media and media training. And Aditi, are you there? You wanted to ask a question to Majid as well that we need to answer, hopefully.
Yeah, I did. So basically, like, from the experience that you've kind of amassed and accumulated, how do you kind of retain a sense of integrity in your politics, and hold that, you know, with you wherever you go, but kind of adapt to the people that you're speaking to the different spaces that you're in? So for instance, like the language, the vocabulary that you might be using within like a kind of a university context might be really different to the language that you're using at like an old people's home. You know, I'm sorry, that's a really random example, but it's not.
Honestly, it's a very good question. I 100% know what you mean. It's honestly, first and foremost, I pride myself in being unapologetically myself, regardless of what environment. And then in terms of being comfortable with who I am, kind of thing. At times where people have said, Majid, listen, I don't agree with what you say, what you believe, but I respect the fact that you are your own person, because like regardless of what the environment that's in. But of course, like the language I use may change. Like I'm still saying the same things. I still believe in the same things, and I uphold my own integrity. But it's, if I am speaking in a room full of like, from like Thames Valley Chamber of Commerce and Windsor Castle, which is a true story. But I literally, my language would be different to compare if I'm like, I think fundamentally it's just communicating. Like I want to be understood, and I want them to, so I will kind of change like my language in terms of how I'm saying things, the words I may be using, or so yeah. Honestly, and as well, it's just through experience kind of thing. Like and a lot of it has been through learning from being put in these situations, these environments I'm not completely used to, and you kind of learn to, honestly, and I think just by meeting varied people from all walks of life has kind of really just in different environments in different countries has really trained me in terms of how to speak to people in different ways, kind of thing. And sometimes it's like, I don't even necessarily see myself doing it, but I can just adapt, kind of thing. And sometimes as well, and fundamentally, people are just normal human beings. Yes, we may be in a very academic settings, but people don't talk like that all the time. They've still got mates they speak to. They're still like normal, ordinary people. So I just try and, I guess, speak to people on a level kind of thing. But yeah, sometimes the environment, like I may choose to use different words, or if it's fitting, I'm never pretentious to kind of like, oh, I'm in this environment, I need to act or speak like this kind of thing. But it's, yeah, I just try to speak, I guess people just see people as humans. I just treat people on a human level, and people just, it kind of cuts through as well. And sometimes the most funniest thing is it's people be like, that is so refreshing to hear somebody speak like that. Well, you're just speaking normally because they're just so used to speaking in such a very stuffy way. And it's like, speaking normally is come across as being a breath of fresh air kind of thing.
But this is a media training today, Majid. So let's just,
do you know with media training, I know we haven't got much.
Like, how do we deal with media? Because as they are all going to be, very much like, we don't know. To be really honest with you, and I want to make that clear to you, I have absolutely no idea whether or not you're going to get like a flood of like PR interest, meaning like you're going to get like BBC, morning show, like all shebang turning up, or nobody at all. Like, I have no idea. And I need to make that really clear to all of you. So with that in mind, is like, how do you handle press questions? And because, journalists are very good at trying to get you to say things. And with a festival like this, they're going to try and make you say the things that, you're there to whistleblow, you want to take down the government, and everything that will actually stop the festival from going effectively. So it's about being very sensitive as to how you're going to use this public platform. So to seed some information without actually just having us being completely taken down, basically. Yeah. So Majid, do you want to say that?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit.
I'll very briefly just say, in terms of my experience with the media, I've never had any media training. And I'll be honest, at the start, I wish I did, especially when I was like completely being bombarded by so many things. And in an interesting way, it's a lot of journalists have thought that I was quite refreshing again, just because they could tell when somebody's polished and being media trained in terms of the answers that they give and the way they kind of respond. Whereas I was just quite honest and being myself, but I made a couple of mistakes. Sorry, one second. I'll call you. So you kind of like just learn basically. But in terms of just touching on what Nelly said, you'll find some journalists and press people that they've already written the story, and all they want is to kind of for you guys to fit the narrative. They'll try and like want you to say something or whatever. So anyway, I've got a couple of things I just want to go through basically. So I guess the first point is honestly just do your research. Like, if you're privileged enough to know someone reaches out, find out who they are and try to find out the sort of stuff that they've kind of written from. You can kind of generally gauge from whoever's reached out in terms of what sort of stuff that they've written, what kind of angle that they kind of come from. Like if they kind of tend to write in right-wing tabloids or certain messaging, look at some of the stuff that they've written before, so you can kind of gauge what their kind of alignment is basically. Find out basically like who their audience is likely to be, like who they write for, like how much, like whether it be, if it's print, what it's for. Just ask like questions, just do as much research as possible basically. And then just because you know exactly who you're dealing with. For example, I made one mistake basically speaking to somebody at the Times, didn't do any research, and I was a bit too honest, shall we say, right? And also as well, is you'll come to realize the interview doesn't start when they've got their pen and paper or when they've kind of pressed record on their recorder. The interview starts as soon as they meet you. And I did not know that. So I was just waffling about loads of other things. And then I thought once we kind of got the meeting started, then the interview started. But she included in this Times article all the other stuff I was saying about, yeah, I'm going to decorate this, all this other nonsense, which kind of painted me in a bad light. But I didn't know the interview started as soon as she came in the room. And I should have known, but if I'd done my research, I would have basically saw on her Twitter profile, it literally said in her Twitter bio, never trust a journalist. Literally. So anyway, it's basically do your research. And the second thing as well, it's the honest answer is whether it's like for, I guess if it's for print, you'll have a lot more kind of stuff to kind of include. But if it's for radio, TV, whatever, there's only so much that they can actually include. And as much as I'm sure you're all experts in your own field and you know everything in terms of what you're doing, they really are looking for sound bites because there's only so much information they can retain and they're kind of trying to get out from it. Like they can put on a headline or they kind of take out from you. So basically just, I guess before you speak with them, just try and make sure you've done a bit of, you know what it is that you want to say, you know the core messages that you want to kind of, even if it's like 3 messages that you want to kind of get across, and you kind of just repeat it until you kind of feel like you've kind of got the core messages that you want to kind of get across, because fundamentally that's the thing that will kind of make it in the media kind of thing. Also just take control in all honesty, because you are the one that's in control basically. Yes, the interviewer may be the one that's asking lots of questions kind of thing, but it's fundamentally is what you say. They can only write about what you say basically. So it's kind of acknowledge and remember that you are the one in control, even if it literally means, do you know what, I'm just gonna take some time, I'm just gonna like let me think about this or whatever, but just know that it's what you say is basically is what they can only write about. So if you want time to say, take some sip of water to think about it, there's no rush, even though they may try and pressure you, just kind of reinforce the fact that you are in control and basically. And also, yeah, just, I think Nelly mentioned, so prepare for whatever tough questions you think they might have, like, and like I'm sure Nelly and the rest of the team will kind of like kind of prep in terms of like what's been already said about the festival. Like for example, like it's always when people tweet about it, it's kind of known as the Brexit festival kind of thing, or like just being generally aware of in terms of like what the core main issues that might be kind of thing. And that's, I'm sure, like you'll kind of get advised or that you may already know kind of thing. Other things to kind of mention is honestly kind of just like avoid kind of social faux pas kind of thing. Like it's just generally just being polite kind of really goes a long way kind of thing. Like if like maybe if you're a male, try not to mansplain things, or like it's just kind of awkward social cues that like if it gets picked up, it can really paint you in a really bad light, but it could be due to nervousness or whatever it is kind of thing. But just kind of just being polite and being socially aware and conscious about what you're saying and how you're interacting with people is really, really important. And I don't know, like if you're doing whatever, like radio interview, for example, if it's a radio interview, you've got the benefit of you're not in front of a camera, so that basically just means that you can have a cheat sheet with you. You can write down notes if in terms of to get your messages across. And try not to really hard sell anything, basically. And I think fundamentally is media is just a way for you to kind of communicate and engage with other human beings, basically. So try and be as human as possible, basically. But at the same time, yeah, that doesn't kind of mean go and waffle about anything else, what you've had for dinner or whatever. You basically want to get a message across as humanly as possible, but as succinctly as possible, and basically. And if you're doing a TV interview, whatever, just be cautious of like the equipment, just your environment. Also, just maintain eye contact is just another kind of really important thing to kind of be aware of as well. And honestly, just be your fabulous selves. Like you're all beautifully individual as possible, and that in itself is worth celebrating. And just honestly, just be yourself. Don't feel like you need to kind of, oh my God, I'm in front of the camera, I need to kind of, and it's natural because I guess I don't know how much experience anybody's had being in front of camera or being interviewed or asked questions or whatever. You may be like, oh, like I need to kind of act in a certain way. I need to act all proper because my mom's going to be watching and my mom might say, why don't you do, you know what I'm saying? All that sort of stuff. But honestly, just be your own fabulous selves and just kind of basically just know what it is that you want to say kind of thing. And just kind of think about it beforehand kind of thing. And that's just basically it, honestly. And of course, there's literally like week-long courses on media PR training kind of thing. But it's like, and the thing as well, you'll always have, I'd like to think like, if there's anything you're unsure about, you can get in touch with myself, you can get in touch with Nelly, we'll be at hand kind of thing. We can like give you a bit more like notes if needs be kind of thing, like whatever it is that you need. But they're the kind of generally kind of things to kind of think about basically. If anyone's got any specific questions or thoughts or even concerns or anything specific kind of thing. Also, Nelly, if there's anything like, I know we have 15 minutes, but we can still talk about everything. But if you wanted to kind of me to elaborate on any specific points or anything.
Anyone has got some question for Majid?
Honestly, just the main thing is like, it's just look into who they are. You can kind of gauge whether they're friendly, if they're going to be like friendly enough kind of thing. But even then, that doesn't mean you should still kind of like have your core messages ready or what you want to kind of say and stuff like that. And honestly, like it's, yeah, they're looking, basically, everyone's just looking to you guys to find out more about what you guys are individually, what your involvement is and what the festival's about kind of thing. And I'm sure you'll all have your own individual take on what you guys are doing and stuff like that. But it's,
so I guess like maybe to your point about the Brexit festival, right? So obviously the money is coming from the UK government. I think it's really important that, you know, the UK government is not just Boris, it's also Scotland, Wales, you know, and so forth. So it's kind of like this really big collaboration going all around. Now, you know, if someone is you know, obviously there will be people that are pro-Brexit, that are very proud, and they would try to take you in parts to actually take part in their conversation. The main thing is to really kind of like, I would say, just say, this is not your, you know, you're not there to, just don't engage with that kind of stuff, because otherwise you find yourself, oh, you can, but as an individual, not as a representative to the moon. So I guess this is the beauty of it, is like, just remember that whenever there is touchy things that are going to be explored, if you want to go into it, you can go into it, but you can go into it as an individual. So if me, Nelly Benayoun, I want to say something like on my personal Twitter, something like fuck Boris, for example, I can do that. I'm Nelly Benayoun, I can do whatever I want as an individual, but as the person that is running Tour de Moon, I cannot do that, you know? So it's just being sensitive to the way that things work and communication lines work, and being aware of where it starts and it ends. And I would say in general, just try, like, people are just there to have a good time. I doubt that people are going to try and have a deep dive conversation with you about their own politics. But if that happens, I would say maybe don't engage or send them to someone else on the convoy, you know?
Yeah, but you know, I've got this thing, you know, sometimes I honestly like it. So like if I know there's a journalist that's coming to interview me or whatever, and sometimes I don't even care about what they're going to ask me. I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this regardless. So they can say like, oh, Majid, what are your thoughts on the Brexit festival? I'll say interesting question, but then I'll acknowledge it's an interesting question, and I'll kind of pivot from that to talk about what it is that I want to talk about. So I'll always bring it back to in terms of like what it is that the meta core messages that I want to kind of get across. And if they're very persistent kind of thing, say, listen, I'm not here to talk about that. This is what I want. Then go on to talk about what it is that you want to talk about. It's just always just pivoting, like fundamentally as well. These people, their times are limited. They're looking for a soundbite. They're looking for something. And then if they're being very annoying and frustrating, to kind of like say, just keep pivoting. Say, it's an interesting question, but I'm not here to talk about that. But what I would like to talk about, yada, 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 about your kind of...
He's a giant squid. You want to talk about the giant squid.
Giant squid.
That's like the second biggest eyeball of the animal kingdom.
Yeah. I mean, and this is where generally being a bit prepared kind of comes in, to know what the 1, 2, 3 kind of... Because as well, you don't want to sound like a broken record to talk about the same thing. So if you come up with just kind of 3 core messages that you want to kind of just talk about, it can be, of course, related to the project or what it is that you're doing or whatever, and kind of just keep coming back to that kind of thing. And if anyone's, I'd be surprised if anyone's kind of really rude, or if there's any uncomfortable question, just don't answer it. And you don't even have to say, I don't want to answer that because I'm not comfortable with saying that, because then they'll be right, so-and-so was uncomfortable to answer this question and they didn't want to answer. You don't want that for that to be the takeaway after everything else you kind of talked about. So basically just be like, yeah, that's an interesting question, but this is what I would like to talk about this instead, kind of thing. So just constantly pivoting to what it is that you want to talk about.
Okay.
Nelly, just a quick question, Nelly.
Yes.
Is there a comms officer? There is, right? Press
Yeah, well, they just met Ollie a second ago. Yes.
Okay. Ollie's would be like the go-to person in terms of any kind of comms, or he'll be able to kind of sift through kind of, and I'm sure he'll be and liaising with the press. But yeah, they're just
That's a
general
good point,
things, but-
actually. Like, you know, if you don't find the kind of the way out, you can just say as well, like, please reach out to Owen or Oli, you know,
Yeah.
and you can find their detail there, and we can just make sure that you have that available to you all, so you have this kind of listing with you. But yeah. A lot of it is going to be common sense, but like Majid
Yeah.
is saying, common sense also come from experience and you being put into certain situation. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like part of it is going to be a bit like, you know.
And to be fair, like it's nobody's a politician, but I'm just like, I think people just be more intrigued to find out what it is that you guys are doing and what Tory Moon is, because it does sound bonkers, brilliantly bonkers to lots of others. So they might just be curious, but of course there'll be those that'll be like trying to, also there'll be people that be trying to paint you guys as a bunch of weirdos or a bunch of like, literally, if they wanted to kind of go down the angle of how stupid this festival is, be like, yeah, we met these crazy people that are doing like, what a waste of taxpayer money it is, kind of that is. But the thing is, it's like, you can only control what it is that you can say. You can't control down the angle of, you can try and predict what they may say, but you can fundamentally control what comes out of your mouth and what is that you kind of say, kind of thing. So honestly, just be positive, say how amazing it is and what it is that you're working on, and the rest will be great, basically.
And critique is inevitable regardless, like
Exactly,
our time
exactly.
with, you know, like, yeah, just that's kind of like part of things. But yeah, you don't have to engage with it.
Yeah, don't, like, if they end up saying it, don't take it to heart. Basically, it's just, so they're going to be pricks everywhere.
We saw.
They're just
It's all around, like, basically. But I mean, like, this is kind of like an introduction, but obviously, again, like, we do not know how it's going to be and whether or not you're going to have any of a journalist turning up with their kids. We have no idea. So it's kind of like, you know, part of it is just us kind of planning a bit for it. And at the same time, just being aware as well that, you know, we just don't know everything. Yeah, no, thanks for the session. Okay, so everyone, we're going to stop here. Thank you so much for today. I will send you this recording, and then I'll see you all tomorrow at 10:55 at the Natural History Museum. We're going to see the giant squid. Everyone, I'm really, I mean, even more than the giant squid, I'm really looking forward to meeting you all. I need to tell you, I'm quite small. I mean, Aditi, I'm not going to speak for you as well, but I'm quite, you know, you're quite small as well. We two small people, but, you know.
I think I'm smaller than you, Nelly.
Are you? I don't know.
I am smaller.
Majid is tall. Majid, you're taller, but you're not going to be with us.
I'm not going to be there, unfortunately. I would have loved to, but yeah, I'm sure we'll see each other soon.
All right. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you for staying with us for these 2 hours. Just go back to your calendar, go back to your brief, spend your time reading it, look at the film, read, you know, all of that stuff. And yeah, see you tomorrow.
See you, everybody. Looking forward to
Bye.
meeting
Bye.
you.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Much love. Bye. Bye.